Well, this is the first video I'm doing from home. I've chosen so because it's quite a hot day. I don't feel like dragging out the equipment, and we still have a pandemic on our hands and need masks and such. As many of you may have heard, there is going to be an annular solar eclipse today in the Eastern Hemisphere on June 21st, 2020. The solstice, which just happened 15 minutes ago, just happens to coincide with this eclipse. And with the Metonic cycle, as I've talked about before on Facebook and such, it's a 19-year cycle and 2.5 hours that the sun-moon align roughly within the region of the node, and eclipses can coincidentally occur. So there's nothing special about it being on the solstice necessarily, but that date holds, June 21st. And the next one will be 2039, and the last one will be 2058. There won't be one in 2077. There was one in 2001, and there was one in 1982, but there wasn't one in 1963 because it tends to drift out of the nodes. So this is not a precise way of predicting eclipses. And besides, the calendars were different way back when. But the solstice was unique. It didn't matter how we called the, whatever day, what Gregorian, Julian, or some other calendar. The day of solstice was the same. I mean, that goes back to Neolithic times and Stonehenge and such. Or you see solstice lighting up in many Neolithic ruins and such. Okay, but so that's two things going on here tonight. And but the bad thing is this pandemic is that many of us who are very fond of eclipses can't go. We can't travel. I mean, die-hard eclipse chasers who have been in, I would say, addicted to them or do science and such, can't go. We can't travel. We have quarantines and such, and this eclipse travels in areas starting with the Republic of Congo and the Democratic Republic of Congo into South Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Yemen, Oman, Pakistan, India, Tibet, China, and then Taiwan, and then just skims Guam, but it doesn't reach there. So what's an annular eclipse? An annular eclipse is when the moon is just too far away from the sun, and so a little parts of the photosphere show up. Sometimes they get so tight that they just show up as tiny little beads, which we call Baily's beads. But they can be arcs or just a complete ring, and it's been termed a ring of fire. Fire, I mean, whatever colloquialism you want to call it, but if you line yourself up in the center of what's called the antumbra, not the umbra, because the umbral cone actually onto Earth doesn't reach. So let's say this is the end of the umbral cone. It's somewhere high up in the sky, pretty far. The closer it gets, the tighter the eclipse, the shorter the annular. The further away, the longer the annular eclipse. I like annular eclipses very much as I like totals, because they're unique, because they have challenges to them, especially photographically. If you do it unfiltered, you can photograph chromosphere, you can photograph inner corona, and these are unique photographs that just have never been done in history, the stuff we could do with that. And it's just kind of cool that it cuts it so close, and all the action happens within a minute, as what's going to happen tonight in 6-7 hours. So I'm looking forward to a group that I was going to go with in Pakistan, who are going to be on the edge, and that's where I went in Sarmiento, Argentina. And we had some success in figuring out exactly where the sun's edge was, like its solar diameter, solar radius, by the old calculations not working, and that by adjusting it, we then figured out that the sun really is larger than what we commonly accept. Now let's talk about the Saros series. This is Saros series number 137, and that's 223 synodic months, 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours. This is Saros 137. That's a pretty special one for me because In 1984, I was able to drive to Petersburg, Virginia with the AAVSO, but it rained that day, and it was predicted to have approximately 9 seconds of annularity, which means it can never be annular. When it gets less than 15 seconds or so, when we do these limb corrections, limb corrections meaning knowing the exact lunar limb profile between the mountains and the valleys and such, it can never be complete annulus at any point. So it's a broken annular, broken total, whatever, annular total. It's a transition zone that's ill-defined. We can't predict it entirely, the limits to it and such. It's where math goes crazy over there. Nevertheless, it rained, and I was able to drive with my friends 3 hours, and we made it to Greensboro, North Carolina, and we successfully saw it for 11 seconds. And I do recall looking up an annularity, something I will not suggest to anyone without a filter. You need these Eclipse glasses or welder's filters, or use the pinhole projection method. But I did look up during annularity, and I saw inner corona. So I saw inner corona and lots of beating and such. You couldn't see chromosphere with your eyes, because that's quite faint. So that you can see with your eyes during totality, but you can photograph it. So this is the best we can do. I mean, we can't be excited about this because we can't see it, and watching it on television or YouTube and such is just not the same. But I am excited for those that I know, my friends and such around the world, and that we're coming together and putting these feeds and sharing information on what to do and how to maximize the enjoyment or the science out of this eclipse. So this is really a big day. The next eclipse is in December 14th, the end of the year, and I have plans to go to Argentina with some friends, but we hope, knock on wood, things open up, that things go for the better around the world. You know, you can't travel, you're not going to see eclipses until they come back. But the next one for us here in New York, upstate in Buffalo and Syracuse, Rochester, and Rome, and elsewhere, is in April 8th, 2024, and that'll be coming up pretty fast. I was very mad that during this pandemic I couldn't go and do more reconnoitering as I normally do.